No.
Okay, good.
Alright, so we got our tank off. Next thing is we're gonna start taking the air box out. That'll be part 2 of this series on how to get down to the valves and do the shimming. First thing is they want us to take this part off. So we'll go ahead and got the 4 bolts. Okay, next step is to release this hose clamp. This is the secondary air injection hose. Pull that off. And then we're going to lift this cable clamp out of the way, but don't cut the zip tie. It's all one piece and they don't give you a new one. So just lift it up out of there. We're going to disconnect it, lay it aside. Then we're going to disconnect the map sensor. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to start taking all the little screws out. These are Torx. So we'll start taking those out along with the air filter, which will end up replacing the air filter. Next is there's a little hose down here. You need to pop that off of the box. Just pull it straight down. Comes right out. And then we're gonna start disconnecting the bolts that hold the intake throttle body. There's 6 screws, two for each of these, and these are just rubber, so kind of push them out of the way to get to these ones underneath. Next is this one down here in the bottom. Now once again, this one says to discard, but I didn't go buy a bunch of brand new fasteners. My goal is just reuse them as long as they're not damaged. and then just replace the Loctite. Put on some new Loctite before I install them. Make sure they're torqued. So, yeah, they're all good. Okay, now this should just lift out of there. And we'll try to keep as much dirt out of the throttle bodies as humanly possible. Set that aside. And then we're gonna take a little time to clean up around these throttle bodies so that we don't have a bunch of dirt and debris falling down in there. All right, let's go to the next steps. Disconnect the throttle position sensor plug. So this took me a minute to find, but there's a plastic cover right here on the right side of the throttle bodies. It just pops off and set it to the side, and then the throttle position sensor plug is there, and just release that. The next part is going to be the fuel injector plugs. Obviously there's 3 of them because it's 3-cylinder. One, 2, and looks like this one has a cover on it, so I'll have to pull that back. Try not to damage the wires. There we go. All right, and then also up here on top, there's this cable here, which is the throttle actuator motor plug, more than likely for the cruise control. Kind of hard to do filming with one hand. Okay, there we go. All right, this next part is really difficult to try to show you on the engine, so I'm going to show you on the picture. But the little connections to each of the throttle bodies down to the manifold or whatever it is, they're really tough to get to, but they're basically like kind of like a hose clamp. It's got a band that goes around, and you'll have to loosen these up. This one is actually positioned over here, so there's like a weird way of getting your wrench in from behind. These two are actually facing to the right, so you can kind of get your wrench in from this side. Once you get those loosened up, which I'll try to show you where they're at. So one of them is right there. See what I mean? It's very difficult to get a camera in there. Then there's that. Then we're gonna do this. We're gonna release the other end of this fuel hose from the bar, and it's got that safety clip, kind of like it did earlier, that connects to the gas tank. See if I can get this on camera. So once again, you push the clip to the side, and then 2 buttons, both sides kind of push in, and then push back and remove it. And that hose is going to leak fuel all over the place. Great. So, put a rag down there and try to catch it. It'll eventually stop. And then we'll continue with removing it. You're probably going to have to read through the manual kind of step by step on this one. Take your time and I'll try to get this out and show you a little bit better view of some of these other parts. Alright, so I disconnected the fuel line here to give me some space. I've loosened up all the transition clamps, and now we're going to lift it out. I've already kind of lifted it up out. You will have to use a little bit of force to try to pop them up out. But once they pop out of their transition pieces, you just have to try to move this around. So I've got all of this disconnected for the purpose of doing the valve timing. So this is as far as I'm going to take the throttle bodies down, but I'll make sure to clean them up before I put them back in. It's not a bad idea to take pictures of everything as you make your way through here, so you know how it goes back together.